My cat's making noises. Monty, please stop. Hi guys, welcome back to English with Max. In this video, we're going to look at various questions that might be useful when you're talking with people in English, particularly native speakers. These are mainly things that you can say if you have difficulties understanding or hearing the other person. This video is aimed at intermediate students, but it might also be good for you if you have an advanced level, because I've often heard advanced students make mistakes with these sentences. If you think you might forget these questions, then I recommend that you get a notebook and write them down. If you would like to watch this video with English subtitles, you just need to turn on the captions. Remember to subscribe and to hit the little bell if you want to be updated on new videos, and don't forget that you can also follow me on social media. I regularly upload short videos to Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The first question is something you can say if you didn't hear or understand what the person said. It's, "Could you please repeat that?" Or, "Could you repeat that, please?" With this construction, you can either put the please after the could you, or at the end of the sentence. You can also replace could with can. So it would be, "Can you please repeat that?" But could is just a little more polite. You can also use the construction, "Would you mind?" Then it would be, "Would you mind repeating that, please?" But I think it's just easier and shorter to say, "Could you please repeat that?" Now be careful with this. You cannot say, "Could you please repeat?" That's incorrect. You need to put something after the repeat. So you have to say, "Could you please repeat that?" Or, "Could you please repeat what you said?" To make this question more polite, you can first say, "I'm sorry," or just "sorry." Either one is fine. For example, "I'm sorry, could you please repeat that?" And you can add "I'm sorry" or "sorry" to any of the questions in this video. In English, particularly in British English, we like to apologize a lot. So it's not strange to say sorry quite often. Another thing you can say if you didn't hear or understand what the person said is, "Sorry, what was that?" It's a little bit direct, so it's maybe not quite as polite, but if you say it with a pleasant or polite tone of voice, it's normally fine. These next two sentences aren't actually questions, but if you say them, it's implied that you would like the person to repeat what they said. These are, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said." And, "I'm sorry, I didn't catch that." Both of these mean the same thing. "I didn't catch that" is just more colloquial. If the person is speaking too quickly for you, the question you should ask is, "Could you please speak more slowly?" Or, "Could you speak more slowly, please?" If you want to modify it, you can also say, "Could you please speak a bit more slowly?" If somebody uses a word or an expression that you don't understand, you can say, "What does that mean?" Or, "What does X mean?" For example, "What does spatula mean?" This is a spatula. Be careful, because lots of people get this wrong. You cannot say "what means X" or "what means spatula." You have to say "what does spatula mean?" Another useful question is, "What do you mean by X. We use this when we understand a word or a phrase, but we still don't know exactly what the person means. We use it especially if something has several meanings, or if something might mean different things to different people. For example, what do you mean by she's rich? Does she own 1 house or 10? Or what do you mean by clean? Do you mean it's like a hospital, or do you mean he cleans his house once a week? In French, it's a bit like saying qu'est-ce que tu veux dire par là? And in Spanish, it's something like ¿qué quieres decir con eso? If the person you're speaking to understands your native language and you want to know the translation of a word or a phrase in English, you can say, how do you say X in English? Let's pretend you're a Spanish speaker. You could say, how do you say caballo in English? If you don't speak Spanish, caballo means horse. And be careful here as well, because you cannot say, how is X in English? How is caballo in English? No. But you can say, what is caballo in English? That's fine too. Sometimes you might want to know how to spell something in English. Then you could say, how do you spell that? Or, could you spell that for me, please? Or, could you please spell that? And if you're still confused, you can say, could you please write that down for me? You don't have to use the down here. You can just say, could you please write that for me? But it's more common to say, could you please write that down for me? I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, please write them in the comment section down below. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. See you next time. Want to know the use to watch it, but